Holy shit, everybody. This is your boy DSP. You may know me. It's David Stephen Patterson. And I think I reversed that actually. This is David Stephen Patterson. You know me as DSP. This is Neil Lepovitzis SSN. And this is the Headhunters and Boxers Talking Smack. And I'd like to welcome to today's show. Now she comes to us all the way from the dark side of the Force. This is the Sith, right? Internal HR is the evil overlord Sith of the universe, the Empire, as opposed to us rebels fighting the good fight. This is Amy Darth Miller.
There we go.
Welcome.
You obviously didn't see my Halloween costume this year.
Oh, I did. What was it?
Are you going as? You're going as what's his face? The little guy, Yoda.
No, I am not going as Yoda, Neil.
What are you going as, Amy?
The original bounty hunter recruiter extraordinaire, Boba Fett.
Oh,
how'd y'all not see this?
Wow.
I mean, I got the Wookiee braids and everything. Go check out. Go to my YouTube channel and check it out.
You know what
Shameless
you should go as?
Boba Fett.
You know what you should not go as, Amy?
That's the quickest plug we've ever had, actually. That's the quickest plug. You just earned the trophy. Quickest plug in Headhunters Boxers history.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to say this before we go on. I do want to say this. And hopefully Alexa's listening to this. I, for one, welcome our new Amazon overlords.
As you should.
As I should, yes.
So Amy, you know what you should go as on Halloween? You know what I'm thinking?
What should I go as on Halloween?
You go on a super friggin' hot HR chick because you won't have to dress up to me. You know what I'm saying?
Why do I have to be an HR chick? Why are you so mean already? I got here.
We've gone back and forth. We've gone back and forth on LinkedIn. We've gone back and forth on different groups. And look at you. You're
you
such a lovely
bastard.
You are delightful. I like the whole. I'm a little smitten, Amy Miller. No, you're the hair color thing. You are delight.
Yeah, you know, gingers. Look, you love them or hate them. There's no in between. All right.
Me like you, baby. Me like you.
I mean, there's no ambivalence when it comes to ginger girls.
Well, now that's it. Are you the ginger with the soul or without the soul? Because there's two different types.
Maybe I'm collecting them. Maybe I've got a lot of them.
Oh, okay. So you're the soul eater, as they say. Again, I welcome our new Amazon overlords and their messenger in the flesh, Amy Darth Miller.
So you want to
not a company spokesperson.
Oh man, that's what they all say, and that's how they get you.
Amy, do you remember how we met? You probably don't. Do you remember the first time we interacted? I totally do. You won't remember it because I do, because it was memorable.
Gosh.
You won't remember.
Was it memorable for you? Did I leave you with a good taste in your mouth? Tell me about it. Let's relive it.
I'm not going to go there.
Addict support group, wasn't it?
I actually posted in one of the groups about some of my LinkedIn automation.
Oh God, yes, I remember.
You flipped that. You were like, "What at me?"
I did.
You were like, "Duh!" And I loved it. I loved it. Like, and I think you liked that I wasn't getting pissed off or nasty.
There's no room for being mad in this industry, or you will die an early death. Like, we just gotta laugh at all of it. We're all doing our own thing. We're all making good money. We're all happy. The rest of it's just semantics. Who gives a shit?
I've told. Watch your mouth on the show, by the way. I don't know if we gave you the rules beforehand. I like to throw out the S-bomb.
Have you seen this show before? It's a family show. Actually, and Amy, by the way, for those of you who are watching this, you don't know, this is Amy's first interaction with myself. I've actually been a bit of a hermit online as of late because I've been so involved in projects. Obviously, Neil doesn't really have a job or a real business, so he just spends all his time online.
Yeah, he's just kind of hanging on to DSP as tight as he can. I get it.
We call it. I want my DS penis. You know what I mean? I go for DS penis. You have heard that.
I want my DS penis.
NESS.
A real thing, and now it's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah, like I'm going to like Amy Darth Miller is going to be a thing. I'm going to keep saying it until
I'm kind of excited about that, actually.
Oh God! Imagine how things we could do as a Sith. I mean, as a Sith Lord, you have a lot. You don't have any boundaries, no rules. You just the dark force just rippling through your body. The power, the sheer.
I don't know, man. You know, Boba was my first celebrity crush as a little girl, so I don't know. I don't know if I can make the switch. We'll see.
Excellent. Now, Boba was a clone.
Around you.
Yes,
I know.
You gonna get with a clone? A clone? For those of you who are in Star Wars lore,
David, you've seen all the Star Wars, haven't you?
Hey,
You've seen all of them.
I'm not anti-Django.
Yes, I have. And I also know the correct order you're supposed to watch them in. Not the order everybody thinks. There's a special order.
Do you know what my favorite Star Wars movie is, though? Nerdy. Seriously, this will surprise you.
No, it won't. Let me guess. No, hang on.
Okay, see if you can guess. My favorite Star Wars movie of the entire.
Empire Strikes Back is the classic, like the quintessential Star Wars movie.
I'm going to go with Empire Strikes Back also, but that wouldn't surprise you, so I'm not going to go with that answer because that's an easy answer.
I would say Return of the Jedi.
No,
the surprise pick is Return of the Jedi. That's the dark horse, I think.
And it's not going to be the first one either. And I don't think it's going to be in the second. No, it's going to be the first one. It's going to be Episode 1, the first real Episode 1, not the fourth movie made. That's good. No, damn it. This is so hot. The nerds out there, Amy, are dying right now.
The larger Star Wars universe.
Oh,
all right. Wow, don't limit yourself.
Wow, you're going
don't
like Han
limit
Solo?
yourself to the original trilogy.
Wow.
There's only 6 real Star Wars movies, so I'm not quite sure what you mean.
She needs like the Han Solo.
Should I just tell you? Should I just cut the suspense? Because I don't think anybody else even likes this movie, but it is my absolute favorite. Rogue One.
Oh my! All right. Ooh, wow.
I didn't even think about that one. That is
that scene, not to spoil it for anybody, but speaking of Darth, that scene where he's just hacking shit up, like gets me all tingly.
Actually, it's also really good, very underrated. Was Solo? Solo was excellent.
Solo was okay.
That guy. Yeah, I thought the guy played Solo. The movie was alright. The movie was good, but the guy played Solo. Oh my gosh, so good.
So good. That was the best part of that movie. There was not much else to help it out, but yes, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, that guy nailed it.
Actor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The nerds out there are dying at seeing you talking about all this nerdy stuff right now with your little T-shirt on. They're loving this stuff.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Stuff. Like the hot nerds become a thing, right? I see these girls and they got a nerd shirt on. I'm like, you're not really a nerd. I don't think you know what nerd means. Go back to the '80s when I was a nerd, and no, you weren't talking to me back then. You were not a nerd.
I was a nerd back then. I was the biggest nerd. I was so awkward as a child.
That's nerd cultural appropriation.
All right, wait. So did your husband get you when you were nerdy or after you became hot? Like was he there?
No, I was a total nerd. Like I used to follow him around when we were kids, like in high school. Like I was the nerdy girl following the cute boy that was like in a band. He was that guy.
Wow.
And yeah.
And so you've been married your high school sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God!
Did.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so let's swing over to recruiting now, Amy.
Show killer. Oh
yeah. Wow. No, so
the
audience doesn't want to hear, but we need to have them like that fantasy thing. We don't want, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to Brad Pitt. Right, you need.
That's all right. I froze him in carbonite. We're good.
Right. There,
I'm on my out to my husband, and I'm looking for one viewer to go on a date with. That you got to leave with that. So, one lucky viewer is going to get his or her wishes are going to come true.
And right, and you're like, I just love nerdy, quiet recruiting guys, right? Like all those things in the site, like on my Facebook page, it pops up. It's like this 25-year-old hawker's like, I love older men, and like there's an ad, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna click on that. That'll work. Like you do? I'm an older guy.
Balding back office ex-recruiter guys in their 50s, Jewish. Like, I love those guys.
Yeah.
You know, it was making fun of Amy. My haircut I did last week, and I botched up.
Yeah.
That's what he's making fun. Yeah, look at that.
Oh.
And David makes fun of me physically because he's a specimen. Yeah.
This
but Amy,
guy.
tell us about what I like to tell us about how annoying recruiters are on the other side. Like, what is it like? Oh
yes.
Go off on what it is that you see that these people that are watching this do that they got to stop doing. That drives that you and your Amazonian people just talk about and make fun of. Just go nuts.
Why do they got to be Amazonians? I've worked with a lot of people on the inside.
Yeah, that's right. Go.
Specifically, when one of the Rebel Alliance recruiters reaches out to one of these Sith Lord recruiters, what is the most common complaint?
I don't find it annoying necessarily. I do find it kind of amusing. It can get annoying when the buzzing. It's like when the mosquitoes start buzzing around, like, okay, now that's getting kind of annoying, and it's really about as impactful to my life. But I think the biggest annoyance is the assumptions. Right, like a lot of the dark side. If we're gonna, I'm sorry, the Rebel Alliance. We'll go ahead. It's your show. We'll play. All right, so we'll go along with the
Fair enough.
Rebel Alliance. I think it's the assumption that the dark side doesn't know what we're doing.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
You don't know
right?
me. You haven't worked with me. We haven't competed, so you don't know.
Right, like
I
you don't
would
know how
not.
it works for it, right? Like you don't know what, like you're just an
Yeah.
HR assistant kind of thing.
Right, which is the furthest thing from the truth. I would not work for a company that tried to put me in that kind of box. So I think, it's just the assumption. Like, I have no reason to think that you two are not masters of your domains and probably exceptionally great at what you do. And I hear good things. And, I have no reason to think you're not awesome. What gives you a reason to think I'm not awesome?
But what
What
do they
have
say,
you heard
Amy?
from my mouth or my
But
candidates or my clients that tells you that I don't know what I'm doing and I couldn't whoop your ass in a recruiting contest?
But you see it
what do they
online,
say
Amy?
that? So I'm curious specifically, are they talking crap about HR to the hiring manager, and that's kind of, or is it that type of messaging that you're getting?
Yeah, or is it
Oh
on
no, I hear
LinkedIn,
it
Facebook
directly.
groups?
Like, I've been
Exactly.
told I'm a corporate sellout more than once.
Really?
Believe it.
Is that on a sales
Yeah.
call? That's pretty.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no,
bold
no,
on a
no.
we
So,
don't
sales
teach
call,
so
that.
man.
Here's the thing to
Yeah,
keep
it's
in
not.
mind though.
I
Like,
take one of my
obviously, I work
courses.
for ginormous corporation. My last 3 employers have been massive corporations. I get people that hit me up all the time, wanting. I'm like, I don't have anything to do with that. Like, obviously, we hire tons of contractors. I'm sure there's relationships, vendor list, or whatever. That's not my thing. I can't help you. I don't know. And people get really mad at me because I'm not helpful. Like, we have 3,000 recruiters. How many have you tried before you got to me? I just don't. But here's the other thing. So when I worked for a very small company several years ago, I would be asked to work with agencies. Okay, cool. I don't care. Here's your rec. Here's what you need. Go do it. I don't care. I got other shit to do. That's your rec now. You go deal with it. And they would try to go around me, and the manager would be like, Amy, why aren't you talking? I told you to deal with this person. What's going on? I'm trying. I gave them what they needed. I have an open line of communication with them. If they, for whatever reason, think that going around me is a good idea, even though the manager is the one sending you back to me, I don't know what to tell you.
Why is it not a good idea, right? Because that's what sort of a lot of the recruiters say to do, but only if they're not getting what they need from you. Why? How does it backfire?
That's fine.
But the manager said they sent it back to you. It's not like they lost from that. So It seems like they only can gain from that, unless you're saying it affected your relationship with them.
So, and this is exactly what happened. It was a creative role. I don't remember exactly, like a creative director or some kind of marketing stuff, which is not my wheelhouse. I've never really done that. So the manager calls me up. He's like, hey, I want to work with this agency. They MPC'd me a candidate. I'm like, cool. You got the budget? Are you approved to pay a fee? Because it's your budget. Yeah, no problem. Okay, get it all signed, get it all good. He's like, I want you to be the first screener. I want you to, kind of company culture, whatever kind of stuff. I said, okay, that's cool. Talk to the recruiter, like, hey, this is how we're going to work together. If you send them to me, I'm going to assume they're good. I'm just going to do my screen, pop them over to the manager, all good. I don't want to be in your way. That's not how I roll. I got other shit to do. And this recruiter tries to mansplain recruiting to me. Well, actually, Amy, I think you need to understand how our process works. Tell me about it. And he's giving me all, and I'm like, yeah, I did manage a branch for the company that you're at right now, right? Do you know that about me?
Well, how do they not, though? How do they not look at you on LinkedIn?
That
blows my mind too. That blows my mind.
I don't know. I know it doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know. I've also had people get mad at me because I had this happen actually at Microsoft, where more than one manager is like, oh, hey, this agency sent me a candidate. Can you see if we can interview him? And I would say, of course. Like, do you have authorization to pay a fee? Is it coming out of your budget? Did you go through the procurement process, whatever that looks like? I had a manager, more than one manager, I have to pay for this? Do you not understand how recruiting works? Let me educate you. And so then letting them know, like, there is actually a fee for this service. It should be at least 25% if they're any good, all these kinds of things. Oh, no, we're not going to do that. Okay, well, let them know. Will you call him for me?
So 25%, Amy. So I love that you just said that. So you believe that there's a value. So if people market to you at 10%, do they set themselves up as being inferior in your mind just by that alone? Wow, right? And it's the truth, but it's wow to hear that.
Wait. God, was it a year ago or 2 years ago? There's this lady that was really pushed, Ingrid something. I forget her name. Was it Ingrid? Oh, she was all the buzz and all the recruiting groups for a couple years ago because she was pushing this 10% thing, and she was talking so much smack about all the other recruiters overcharging 20 or 30% or whatever. And I remember that it was bigger than Recruiters Online group at the time, maybe a couple years. I haven't heard from her in a long time.
Well, what does that tell you?
Yeah, exactly. But I do know, man. She's talked so much smack. I will tell you this though, kind of the same thing. Your recruiters tend to shoot themselves from the foot by going into too light. I personally always teach people just to go to flat 25%, and I don't negotiate. If you do 20%, not interested. I don't do 30. Like that's me personally, because I don't like doing that. We do 30, we do 20, and then we meet at the middle. I'd rather just not negotiate about it.
I know, totally good angle, right?
That's the way I look at it. But for me, because I don't like to negotiate on it. But that said, did I just freeze?
No.
Oh, there we go. All right, I'm on. I thought it looked like I froze on my end. But I'm curious though. So you said that the most annoying thing about recruiters right now is, or just in general, is when they come in and they act like they don't know what you're doing, right?
Just the assumptions. The assumptions that you're here because I suck at my job.
Now that said, I will say this. So I think what happens is recruiters, and this is my opinion, and I've seen this a lot of the people that I train, is that recruiters learn a certain technique, and then they use that thing as a blunt instrument across everybody. So all HR are going to do this. As opposed to typically you want to listen to somebody's needs and figure out, okay, do they not? Or what are the pains? It can do some research and then know some fundamentals of what you need to do. Because some HR people suck. Some recruiters suck. Some hiring managers suck. And so depending on what's going on, you got to kind of navigate those roads. But I will say a lot of times recruiters can, again, use that blend instrument too much. But with that said, then what would be your advice to counter that? So for a recruiter going in, maybe not knowing much about, let's say, you or anybody else, really not knowing a lot, what's the best way to navigate that and figure out, does this recruiter know what they're doing, and how do I figure out how to work with them? You know what I mean? What would be a good strategy?
How would you like to work together? What do you need from me? What would be the best value that I could bring you as an augment to your current staffing or HR process? How do we work together?
And that works, right? That simple stuff.
Of course it works.
But how many people are not doing that, right? How many people don't do that? How many people just come in and how do they come in? So they don't do that. What's like their way that just drives you nuts? Because what's interesting about you is you're in all these groups, so you know how all the recruiters talk to each other, right? So you know what an MPA call is, MPC call. You know,
I've made those calls. Like it hasn't changed that much in 10 years, has it?
Right. But so what do the people do when they really mess up, and what are the ones that do it right? What do they do?
So what's really interesting, I work in a very specialized team. Like the kind of people that I'm recruiting are not lining up for jobs. Okay, they're not contractors. They're available.
The fingerprint
satellites.
Technology,
like I'm recruiting literal rocket scientists. Okay, so if you are trying to MPC call me with a stable full of software engineers, how did you draw that conclusion that that's a call I would entertain?
No, what they need
let
to do
alone the fact that I work for a ginormous company. So, I mean, it starts with just like know who your target audience is. Who are the companies that actually use third-party agencies or that actually have a pain that can be solved through an outside service? A ginormous company with 1 million employees is probably not the one. I hated big national accounts when I was an agency because they lost me money. We worked them because it looked good. Oh yeah, we staff for Wells Fargo and we have 10,000 temps and we're making 0.2% profit. It was a hook. It was the name. I would rather go work with a small company that doesn't have HR, that doesn't have internal recruiters, and go make money hand over fist hiring everybody for them.
So
great. Yeah, I'm much for smaller clients. Now, I will say this, though, and I'm curious, going back to the HR thing as far as, how HR people work and whatnot. I always tell recruiters, when we go in there, you want to try to look for pain, because if they don't have
Of
a pain,
course.
then they're what are we going to say? Like,
Yeah.
then there could be on price. But obviously, I always talk about how hiring managers' pain is different than HR. Even the position may be the
Absolutely.
same, their pain comes from different areas. So I just want to get your feeling on this too, because I always tell them what I think it is, but I've never been in HR. From your perspective, as opposed to an hiring manager, what would you say, like, your, maybe not you specific, but just HR in general, kind of some of those pains they tend to experience, and what would be some of those pains that could be solved by a firm as opposed to for a hiring manager using a firm? You know what I mean? Like, what would that be in your opinion?
So I think, first of all, we have to recognize that there is a difference between HR and recruiting on the inside. Okay, so a lot of times when you're talking to an HR person, the recruiting piece is one tiny slice of their day. Their days are performance reviews and comp analysis and HR, whatever HR does. I don't even know, but whatever they do. So recruiting is like maybe one small piece of it. If you can come in and take that piece off of them and allow them to focus on other HR stuff, that's an example of their pain that you can come in and solve. Like, I can mow my own lawn, but I don't care to because I got other shit to do. So I'm going to hire somebody or get a kid to do it or something. Like, it's the same thing. It doesn't mean I don't know how to use a lawnmower. It just means that's not a good use of my time. And I'd rather pay somebody else who maybe is an expert in this or does it every day and can do a better job. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's the HR pain. From the recruiting perspective, and this is where a lot of people screw up, you're trying to come in and compete with me. Don't compete with me. You can be my colleague. You can be an external extension of my team. We can divide up recs and you can work on something super special while I'm working on all of the repeatable stuff or stuff that gets a lot of applicants or whatever. But don't come in and step on me and act like you're here to save the day because I blew it, because that is rarely the case.
Wow.
So it's poor selling, but yeah. But if someone comes in though, and not isn't a poor seller, for someone to come into somebody who is a full-time recruiter, right? So somebody who's HR, take a recruiter off their plate. Obviously, for a recruiter, not really going to be the same. What are some of the benefits to a full-time recruiter would they need to be able to display and talk about that will get a recruiter like you to look at them like, oh, okay, they know what they're doing. They can help me out. Like, what
and
some of those
I don't want to add on to that
person?
too, David. What I'm interested in is that same question, but like, since you see so many people trying to get at you, right?
Yeah.
And it's so many that do it horribly or they do the same thing that everyone else does. Once in a while, just like with me, I respect and I love when someone got me, and in a good way, where their approach worked. And I'm busy. I'm not gonna, but they got my time. So add on to David's, what do they do? And maybe a story or two that has come up somewhat recently for you, like they know it. Everyone should learn from that person, right? So that sort of same question, but different spin. Or is that just so much that you're confused at what we're asking?
No, I think I get it.
Layers. I can't deal with all the layers.
I think you have to really be cognizant of what it is I do. Like, just, and again, where I'm at today, we don't use third parties right now. We did in the past. They didn't deliver, by the way, which is why we don't use that one anymore and why I've gone and now filled all those recs, in case you were curious. But I think being just cognizant of what it is I do. Like, hey, I see you work in this really, really weird space, literally. And maybe if you have connections in that industry or you've made placements in that industry before, or maybe you're just curious, like what I love people that ask me questions. All right, ask me, before I come in, this is what I do with my candidates. Before I come in trying to sell you something or trying to pitch a role to you or trying to figure out, hey, how do I get you to move to Seattle to come be a mechanical engineer in my machine shop? Tell me about your goals. Tell me about your career pain points. Tell me about what you would want to hear from someone like me.
But right off the bat, though, no small talk. Like,
yes.
That's not right. Hey, Abby. Hi,
like, hey, you know what, Neil? I'm a recruiter. I'm obviously calling you because I want to do business with you. All right. Obviously, I'm not necessarily interested in like being besties and going out for beers. Maybe past COVID, we'll see how it goes. But what I do want to know right now, Neil, is what would you want to hear from someone like me? I'm an external third-party recruiter. I'm here to earn your business. But before I try to sell you something you may not want, What kind of pain are you feeling today?
But listen, I'm getting chills at this only because this is the kind of stuff like we train on to hear from you because people are afraid. No, well, I'm getting chills for other reasons too, but I'm going to stick at, you're married, so I'm going to stick with the, I'm excited on this because really, like, people are afraid. David talks about it all the time. Look, this is a cold call. I'm like, there's nothing wrong. Like, not only is there nothing wrong with it, but you're flat out saying that, my God, like, we know what I'm doing. I am here to sell, obviously, right? I like, but
obviously.
Why are they afraid to do that?
I have no idea.
Well,
it's so stupid.
It is. Okay, so I can tell you why. Actually, I can tell you why. So this is what I picked up from my younger days in the club scene. And I liken sales a lot to my younger days in the club scene when, you know, guy walk up to the girl and the girl says, I got a boyfriend, not interested.
Are we doing this again? I've already argued this with somebody before.
It's just in that just in sales, it's a defense mechanism. Like, just like I'm not here to do that. Not interested because they don't want to be hit up all night long. They're there with their friends. Now Brad Pitt walks in, it's a different story, you know, or somebody that kind of fits their thing or is different, or like, oh my God, this guy looks interesting, and then they hit it off and have a great conversation. And in much the same way, when anybody, HR doesn't really matter, hire manager, or if you're selling anything at all outbound, generally people that are hit up a lot, it's just like they don't got time to be wasting time. So to let you do discovery on 10 people a day, so it's very easy to say, no recruiters, no needs. And typically it's hi, this is David Patterson with the Canenda Group. How are you today? Great. Well, the person I call is, and you're already like, So if you come in a little bit different, like as you did, or just be very direct, or hey, I'm here to boom, and make it all about them, just kind of gets past that, and that barrier of just like and I think it's where it comes from, because right now you have to make a split second decision. Is this person worth 5 minutes of my time or not? And you can't give everybody 5 minutes of your time. Sometimes that first 5 seconds that makes all the difference. Come in different, come in hard, come in whatever. I like saying, hey, Amy, this is a cold call, and just being very open, radically honest. That gets me in. But and I think the reason why people don't want to do that, and here's where I was going to get to, or circle back around to this. The reason why people don't want to do that is the same reason why the guy at the club would rather walk up with the standard shit and get blown at with a not interested than be different. You know why? Because there's safety in failure. There's safety in saying, hey, well, I made the call.
Oh my God,
I got to connect.
I made the call. She turned me down. That bitch.
Right, Amy. How many CRMs?
It becomes my fault. It becomes I'm the asshole that turned it down.
So Amy, give
you're
us
the
more.
asshole that didn't give me something
give us
worth
another
talking
call
to.
that works. Give us what else works. Give us
another call that works.
Yeah, where people came in, you're like, this is good. This is good. I would do that. Or some of the other.
No, these are calls that I've made. I don't get those kind of calls typically.
You're right. You know.
So, okay, now, that said, now I do want to say this real quick. You mentioned you are recruiting, was it rocket surgeons, I believe?
Rocket scientists. Right? Oh, rocket surgeons. That's funny. I see what you did there, David.
Okay, we'll go with that.
I've always wanted to be called that. I would love to be that, just so someone's always no rocket scientist. Yeah.
I don't understand half the stuff that we're talking about when I'm on the calls with these candidates, but it sure is fun. They're very technical, spacecrafty. It's
you could
cool.
skill market a brain surgeon because they're the same, right? And it's the same thing. Brain surgeon, rocket scientist, always use the same.
Look, there's a pain to solve. That's it. The work will teach you how to do it.
Now on your tech screens or your first initial screens. So you're recruiting these brainiacs, rocket surgeons, whatever you want to call them. Now my go-to when I recruit somebody who's technically based, when I used to, I would always ask them on a daily basis, how many wedgies do you typically get? And if they couldn't answer that, I knew they were likely not qualified.
That's good. Good.
Do you use anything like that?
David, I don't appreciate you.
Extra points if they're like, I wear boxers. Like, does that count? So you get a little.
You can still do wedgie with the box. You can still do a wedgie or an atomic wedgie.
I don't like the little flirting that's going on here. Amy, give me some love over here. I brought you on. You're my guest. I'm the single one here. A little loving, baby. Okay, listen to me. When but people.
Sorry, DSP. He needs your attention. He's jealous.
Well,
I'm
we
getting
already
in the
have
way.
man love. I like it.
Would you like me to give you a wedgie, a man wedgie?
Oh, David.
I make that shit go pie too.
I am digging the library look behind you, Neil. I gotta say,
it's real.
You know the way to this nerdy girl's heart.
Oh,
Take
oh my God. Oh, baby. Oh, listen, offline, we're going to talk afterwards. I feel like Howard Stern. We're going to get you offline. So, Amy, when people come in and they market to you,
yes,
and they give you resumes. Do the people that don't give you resumes when they say, listen, no, if you screen them out and they say, Amy, listen, you got to meet these people, okay? I wouldn't have wasted your time. These are two people. If you agree, it fits it, but you just tell me you didn't like. Do you like that approach, or you rather just take charge?
Yeah. So tell me what it is that you know about my pain that tells me I should invest time in talking to this candidate.
Okay, it's a good question, but let's say I did ask those questions, or I would say based on what we.
So are you leading with a resume, or have we already had a number of conversations?
No. That's a great question.
What I'm looking for.
I love that. I got a great. Okay. Or when I interviewed people too, for me, well, here's how I would fix your problems. My problem. Who said I had problems to start with?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
No. You. Let's say you've already worked with them, and they call you up, and you're going to screen it out, and you're like, or the hiring manager, look, he wants to see this one. We'll start with, and they're like, and I got my approach. I was like, look, no, Amy. Work with me. Like my approach would be, listen, let's set them up. I sent you the three. You got to see all three because based on what we talked about, this one, like you're not going to know on paper. Like, do you like? No,
of course, and that's what I expect from my recruiting partners, and what my hiring managers expect of me. If I'm putting a resume in front of you, it's because I've done my due diligence. I've had a conversation. I've vetted whatever we've decided we're going to vet up front, and if my name is on it, it's somebody you should talk to. And I expect no less of my recruiting partners as well.
Do you see everyone
if we have built that relationship and I believe that you understand my pain points and you tell me, hey, on paper, this may look wonky, but trust me because I've had the conversation and here's what I know, done. Get them on the phone. Let's do it. That's the trust that we need to have.
You see, with me, I will tell you, I always, when I put my name on a candidate resume, I've done my due diligence. I always ask that wedgie question. Always with that feel. So you can
would you
sure
stop
it? On me.
But back on the pain thing, I will say this.
Let me write that down.
Now I will say this. When it comes to that pain thing, as far as it will tell me if you understand my pain. So for me, I think there's a lot of research one can do on a prospect, but there's also the risk of getting diminishing returns, right?
Sure, absolutely.
So usually what I say is, I think for any salesperson, whether recruiter or whatever you're doing, if you know, I know ideally, here are probably like top 4 or 5 pains I saw. Like I saw these specific pains. What I like the Sandler approach where we go out and we say, hey, look, here's the pain I solve. Is this something do you want to talk about this? If so, we can dive further. If not, hey, no big deal. We're going to move on and look for those with pain. And then obviously then we find somebody who can kind of fits that. Then we can dive further. We can say, okay, well, tell me about your pain specifically. Because I think what happens is people have this assumption that, oh, so you must have these pains. Well, maybe not. Only 3% of the population has the pain at the time. Go find the one with the pain. And it may not be you, really. And that's the way I look at it.
Amy, there's a question someone asked, which I thought was a good one. It's a little unrelated, but they want to know, are you okay with a headhunter needing to have 30 minutes with the hiring authority at the beginning of the process, or is that not an option? And I would add on to that, what's the best way to approach that if they want to, or what ways offend you when they ask that?
So, look, here's the thing. You need 30 minutes at the beginning of the process. You need 30 minutes a week through the end of the process. That's what I do with my managers. I tell my managers, I will give this as much priority as you do. And for this to be a priority search, you and I are spending some quality time together every single week until this role is filled. And I would expect no less of a third-party partner as well.
Wow.
You cannot go and do this in a vacuum. Because things change. Every week I get on a call with a manager. Oh, well, actually, I'm talking to this internal now. Well, thanks for telling me because I just talked to 6 people to get you 2. You know what I mean? So you need that constant communication and back and forth. It doesn't have to go through me. That's a decision the hiring manager makes.
Do you understand there's always a triangulation? It's always the we hate HR and the recruiters and the hiring manager in sync, and it's
HR
HR
the
the
threesome
recruiters.
again.
And you're saying it's the other way around. We should not be aligned with the hiring manager. They're the bad ones. We should be aligned with you. So
I mean, look, here's what I know to be true. Okay, and again, my current company, my last couple of companies, it's not fair because we have literally thousands of recruiters. It's a whole weird process. But in a smaller company like what I worked at before,
Google.
Yeah, have you heard of them? I think they do some stuff with like search and like monetizing your data or something.
Are they
I don't know.
Jeeves, the Ask Jeeves people? Is that who that was?
That sounds super familiar.
Ask Jeeves.
By the way, to the comment we have down there,
here's the thing.
Just saw Don and Amy looked really angry at Neil.
No, and it's
that's just how my face looks.
resting bitch face. Is that what that is?
Resting dark face.
Of Neil or you? Because I think it's more of Neil. Maybe both. I don't know.
I think I am flustering Neil.
You're flustered the audience. We got give her this is where at. Get her my email.
Here's the thing. This is what I need. This is what I desperately need third-party recruiters to understand. This is the third-party recruiter I tried to be back in the day when I was doing it, and this is what has worked for me. Okay, I can be your best ally because guess who is passing the hiring manager in the lunchroom? Guess who's attending the same staff meetings? Guess who is eating out of my candy dish, right? I mean, these things, like I'm the one that can actually help cement your relationship and bolster your reputation because you don't have, that internal, and it's not any fault of yours. It's just you are physically in a different space. You're not necessarily in their face every week like I am. So it should be a partnership. That's the thing that's so confusing to me. Why do we make this so competitive? Like there is fun competition. Like I just had this conversation with my boss. Like, how do I get to be number one? Because right now I'm number two and I don't like that. How do I get to be the best, recruiter, right? So there's that friendly competition. And then there's the, Amy's internal, so she must suck. I have to get her out of my way competition. Good luck.
It is. It's twofold. It's the blunt instrument, as I mentioned before. It's like here's how to deal with HR, and they apply it to everything. There's that, and secondly, it's again their safety and failure, as opposed to learning the new skill, maybe trying it and working with HR, and it's kind of you have to navigate. You never have done it before. It's really murky. It's just easy to basically demonize HR.
That's exactly it. We need a boogeyman. We need a boogeyman. If I didn't get the deal, it's because of that person. If I didn't close this candidate, it's because of that person. We're always looking for that boogeyman and internal recruiting because so many people say, oh, well, you must have failed. Oh, no, I was the top biller in a lot of places for a lot of years. All right. There was no failure here. But, it should be a partnership. We are not competing because I promise you, the minute I hand a rec over to you, I'm done with it. I'm done. I will work on other stuff. It is stupid for me to try to compete with you. It's absolutely stupid. We have access to the same candidate pools. Okay. And that's another thing that agency recruiters do that drives me nuts. Y'all, sometimes, not you two in particular, but a lot of people act like if you have not dragged someone out of the Amazon rainforest kicking and screaming, that it's not a good hire. Seriously? Because I happen to like people who want to work here. They make my job very easy. But there's a whole other part of the process, screening and vetting and coaching and closing and all that other stuff that has to happen that is part of the recruiting service. It's not a matter of grabbing somebody and clubbing them over the head and dragging them to the company. That actually makes your job harder. Maybe talk to people who are already engaged.
Good stuff. So what I think is interesting. So people, when they see, like, again, you're the enemy normally, but you're just a person, and and everyone, they run the gamut. Like, so for you and my sales call, to get back to that, is I would for the love of it, I would read LinkedIn. I would see that you had this experience before, and I always joke in the beginning. I always say something like, Amy, this is my call. Amy, oh, so wow. And I see if you're gonna laugh or chuckle, and I'm like, look at you. Going from Google to Amazon, just that. And if you have a personality that you're gonna say something, well, that's it. And then we'll laugh. And then I'm like, oh, I know. So, and then it just goes into banter, right? And then it becomes.
I love banter.
And most people do, right?
It's fun. Here's how you get my attention. This is no shit. This is how you get my attention. Tell me my dogs are cute and my YouTube videos are funny. Like, that is my love language. Okay, you want my attention?
But that's all you need to do is humanize every call I do. And it's fun because it makes my day. They're not sales. I love interacting with the people, and
you have to think about what is the goal of this conversation. What is the goal of this call? The goal of that very first cold call is not to get a search and a signed fee agreement. The goal is to earn the next call. The goal is to get invited to the next problem party. The goal is to get an introduction to the hiring managers who are feeling the pain and could benefit from your services. So when y'all are like, it's like going to the bar and you're trying to just get laid off the bat. Well, then you're not going to have a quality time. What if you go in and like develop relationships and find people that you connect with and you can build something over time, that's going to pay off a lot more dividends long term than a one-time hit it and quit it and make a baby fee.
Right. So my approach, instead of going to the bar and trying to do it, I have this great method. I invite the hot girls onto my show, woo them by connecting with them online in front of an audience, and then I bet them. It's amazing. I don't know. Does it work? I don't know. What's sexy and winks?
It is works 0% of the time.
What's sexy and winks? Amy? Do you know that joke? You know what's sexy and winks?
I don't.
Sorry. That's where David.
DSP is so ashamed of us right now.
I don't even want to do this anymore. I'm already checked out. Like I'm like. Oh man, sorry, Amy.
It's the Neil and Amy show now.
I apologize.
You had your time.
Oh, shit, it's already news time.
It's already news time.
Oh,
well, look at us.
Man,
hello. David, give us a little news intro while I pull everything up. I always do the news.
All right, everybody, we are doing the news. I can't do a news voice like you can, Neil. Hey, actually, Amy, could you do a news voice?
Yeah, play the music again so she gets in the mood. So she play the music.
All right, here we go. Ready?
This just in, Amy Miller is the #1 guest that DSP and the Boxer Show has ever seen. More at 11. Over to you, Neil.
Thank you, Amy. You're looking around.
Also the most humble.
What? If you were a little more humble, you'd be perfect.
You guys just continue. This is my segment now, and David, you two just flirt along.
By the way, I happen to get rare footage of Amy Miller and her very first interaction with Neil Leatherbeck.
No, you did not.
See if I can show it to you.
Really?
Oh man. I try to play. It's a sexy Darth Vader gif. And it wasn't playing. Oh man!
Damn it!
I had
the whole thing planned out. It was going to be great.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I am your father. Okay.
Here it is.
So.
News.
All right. So the top news today is I am smitten with our guest. That's the news. No, that's. I am, Amy. You're going to come back here. I don't want to talk about anything.
I would love to. It's fun.
I want this news. I want the show to be I want it to be 24/7 Amy. Amy, can I serenade you tonight on Facebook? Can I just do that? All right. So anyway,
hey, I gave you cues. If you weren't listening, then I don't know what to tell you.
The cues to back off, cues
to get my attention. I gave you 2 very specific pieces of information about me. If you're not paying attention, I can't help you.
Damn it. All right. Well, I'm going to go all business now.
So Amy, what do you think of
this? Not a smart man.
So Amy. So again, and I'd like to get your take on this. So this is a survey. 70% of companies now, we love the surveys on this. 70% of companies plan to backfill roles that were eliminated during COVID-19, right? So, and this number keeps on changing. So 87% of those say they plan to backfill roles, do so in less than a year, and more than half say in 6 months. What do you feel is going on again, Amazon and your world is kind of different. Like, I guess, do you have stock options, by the way, as an employee?
You bet I do.
Oh my God. Were you expecting
to the longest and most convoluted questions ever?
Listen, I'm totally flustered looking and talking to Amy. I can't do the news. I'm just saying, we're going to move on. No, Amy, I guess it's a boring story is what I'm trying to say. I didn't pull up some great news stories and no, of course that's an obvious answer, but I am curious about the stock options. So were you expecting the stock to go up fivefold and since the beginning of the year or whatever that would do?
I did not see that coming. And, equity has been a big part of my comp plan for several years now. So that's just how it goes in tech. We all get it. But I was pleasantly surprised. I was actually only partially kidding when I told my husband by the time all this vests, we could pay off our house.
So
provided it continues to go well, we'll see what happens.
Well, it's not going to, what's going to happen, right? I mean, so I bought Amazon back when it was still early on, but it was a name, you know what it was. But I'm like, so I don't know, the internet's going to be a company. So I bought it for $35 a share. And I bought whatever it was, 1,000 shares, whatever it was. So 35 grand, it became worth, whatever it was, it became worth
doing okay.
$1 million when I got divorced, right? And we were getting divorced, and instead of splitting it up, let's just liquidate everything. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to go through your brokerage accountant. We'll liquidate it, we'll take it, we'll do our own thing. So so I'm like, I'm thrilled to death. I bought Amazon for 35 grand. I'm selling it for $1 million. Do you know that thing is worth friggin' $6 million now? If I 35, what the hell? I'm like, and all the time, if I stayed married, I wouldn't have to do this fucking show with David Stephan Patterson. I'd be able to earn money the real way.
Lesson learned, man. Lesson learned.
Oh man!
I guess seriously, right there. Divorce sucks, but talk about rubbing salt in the goddamn wound.
I was just about to say that is salt in the wound, my friend.
Man.
And I was mad at my husband for taking my Boba Fett helmet. Like, you got bigger problems. I'm going to give you the win on this one. My.
All right. So I guess we move on from that very interesting story. All right. So staffing firms are not seeing older adults disproportionately impacted by COVID, right? Relatively small of workers over 55 and up have filed for unemployment versus younger people. That strikes me as bizarre. I don't know. Were you expecting that?
Less boomers or more boomers? I missed
that. No, small percentage age 55 and up have filed for unemployment, right?
A small percentage have filed. Perhaps their Gen X kids are not helping them file.
You know what?
Because I know I'm tech support for my parents.
Good thing I'm not a boomer.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I am a boomer. Do you know I'm on the last year of boomer, which is nuts.
Are you like a cusp boomer? Like you just barely?
Yeah. Total cusp. I'm
almost the greatest generation.
I will say this. My son is 23. Somebody's gonna say, "Okay, boomer." And I'm not even a boomer. I'm Gen X.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Fuck off, Zoomer."
Yeah, exactly. No, I have the same conversation with my children as well. Yeah.
How old are your children, Amy? Everyone wants to know the inner you.
26, 23, 17, 15. Yeah.
What? What was there 13 kids you just listed there? 26, 26. Good for you. Wow.
Yeah, she's in law school. Damn. She's finishing her last year of law school. So.
Oh my God. My daughter just turned 21 years old on Monday. Very exciting stuff. Yeah.
Very cool.
My son just turned 23 and he now works full time for me. He's my technical engineer.
That is awesome.
I could not get a kid in recruiting. Wasn't having it. I thought my son maybe for a hot minute. I took him on the animal show and that was fun.
Did the animal make fun of you? Was he kind to you? Was he rude? Because we love the animal.
Animal's my boy.
He's our boy too.
He won't admit it, but he loves me. No,
he'll admit it. I think he would admit it.
Yeah, we're buds.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right, we just have one last news article here, and this is this is just a good one because it talks about we always talk in the beginning. We were talking about a lot of negative news going on in the labor markets and stuff. And look, it's still things are undecided, but the labor markets now remain tight, really, even amid the slow employment growth and things have slowed down there. But they're saying it's still the beige book on economic conditions. It's saying it's really tight. So recruiters, it's still a really good place for recruiters to be working, as these sorts of, right? And it's a bit of an enigma there, but it's not. As we always say, it's not the doom and gloom that so many people are experiencing, and the numbers they're not even down a crazy amount everywhere. They keep going up and up each week where we talk about this. So again, but it's
you have to recognize the areas of growth. Okay, I mean, this is I've had so many specialties in my career. You know, I was a tech recruiter, obviously, for the longest time. Recently, I was the home building recruiter in Phoenix, Arizona for a hot minute until my clients started calling me and going, so anything in leadership? And that was an indicator that shit's about to bust and I need to get out of here. So that's when I went and actually started going into accounting from there. But anyway, so you have to follow the trends, right? And recruiting is recruiting is recruiting. I don't care what the industry is. The questions change, but the emotional currency remains the same. So you figure out who is hiring. Maybe right now, maybe it's healthcare, maybe it's logistics, maybe it's supply chain. So there's always going to be needs for us. And as long as we are adaptable and we can figure out where the pain is and then move in that direction, we're going to be fine. I've been in this for 22 years. I've seen a lot of ups and downs. Like, it's fine. I don't worry about that shit.
Yeah, they don't.
Some old dogs don't want to learn new tricks. Some do.
But it's not learning all of it, David.
Don't want to learn new tricks.
They go where the wind takes them. So if a job order comes in and it happens to be in the worst industry that's not growing and doing poorly, they'll recruit on it and spend all their time as opposed to working strategically, like Amy just said, going where their needs. They don't. They go where the drag.
If your audience gets nothing else from me, write this down. I will give this as much priority as you do. Done. Because if this shit doesn't matter to you, I got more important things to spend my time on. It doesn't matter to me either. And that is a conversation I have with hiring managers. I will give this as much priority as you do. Don't just throw me a rec to shut me up. That's not how I make my money. This is a partnership, and we are going to work together to get the person that needs to come in and do this job and solve this pain.
And that's you with the hiring manager.
Actually, Amy, I'm curious. When you are delivering the speeches, like when you're telling a recruiter what's up, or a manager what's up, do you ever do that and clap, throw hands, you clap it back? Because I imagine you doing that. I can just see that.
Maybe.
Maybe a couple times.
A little bit.
Maybe you're not on Zoom and you're just
anyway, listen to your recruiter.
So, I have another Amazon question since we're running out of time. So I'm curious, working in the innards of Amazon, are there how many ridiculous? Give me some examples of the stupid Bezos jokes that they make. Do you do this? Guess what, Evan? What's this? That's as much money as he's made for the entire department.
I've never heard any Bezos jokes. Am I missing out?
No, people don't talk about.
Have I not been hazed properly? I'm concerned.
So people don't say like this coffee break. Bezos just made what the entire state of California make. Oh, he just made my salary. Just made it again. Here's my salary. Nothing like that. That doesn't go on.
I have not actually heard that, but that's pretty good. Maybe I'm going to try that. I'll let you know how it lands with my colleagues.
Do you have any idea? He's worth $800 billion, right? Do you have
sure
any idea?
Do
you know how much money that is, Amy? If this was an $800 billion bill, this is how much it would be.
But it's not real cash money though.
If it wasn't,
it's just market value.
I can, I mean, believe me, I'm well compensated. I'm doing okay. But even just the growth I've seen in the 9 months I've been here in my equity, I can't even wrap my head around my own personal holy crap. I can't even imagine what it's like to have that kind of equity. It's wild. But good for him. I think it's awesome.
I gotta say this. So there's a comment on the screen here, and one of our users says, "Amy, why are you not on the dark side anymore?" Now, this is exactly what a Sith sympathizer would say.
Right, totally.
To get on the good side of the new Amazon overlords, they would say this. So I'm just saying, as a Sith sympathizer, right there. Now I do have a question. I do want to ask this one thing here. Hopefully, we don't take up too much time, Neil. On the
no, we're done. We're going to wrap up whenever you're ready. Yeah.
Awesome. Good. I do have a question for you. So,
yes,
we have an election coming up, right? Now, I've posited the theory that we are in the final season of a simulation. The writers have jumped the shark, and we're probably not up for renewal at this point. But assuming there is a new season, if we get renewed for another season, I'm hoping. If we do, how do you think, politics aside, how do you think this next year is going to look in terms of recruiting in our industry? Not necessarily Amazon specifically, but just in general.
Just industry.
You're talking about me prefacing long? Oh my God!
Woo! Lots to unpack there, DSP.
Could be any flavor.
Lots to unpack there.
What flavor ice cream?
I think you're going to have half the country pissed off no matter what, right? I think that it's going to get messy and loud and uncomfortable. before it gets better. I think that the only thing I'm just gonna. This is what I'm gonna do. My plan, my approach. As long as there's work for me to do, as long as these satellites are still in production or we're still planning to do what we're doing, I'm just going to keep showing up every day and doing it, and then if the winds start to shift, I'm going to go do something else. Like it's not that we shouldn't be cognizant of what's happening in the world and we should all vote and we should all be involved. And the thing is, can we just, like, as far as the election goes, I wish people gave as much attention to their local races as they do the presidential race. I'll just say that.
I can agree. I can
get
get
involved.
I can get behind that for sure.
Like,
wow.
I don't. So yeah, it all matters.
We don't ever get political on the show, but I like
that. Anyway, that's as far as we'll go.
I like that.
Look at the time. But I think there's always going to be a need for recruiters. The industries may shift. We may all end up staffing mental health facilities at the rate we're going. I don't know. But there's always going to be a need for what we do. And what we do is we manage the emotional and psychological safety of two people who want the same thing, but don't get there in the same way.
As Mike Brady once said,
100%.
If you need to shift, then you should shift before shifting. Because if you don't shift, then is that the shift that you really wanted to shift? Thank you, David.
Control the shift.
Oh my God, that was just so deep.
That was, yeah. Think about it. Think about it.
So, as the old 80s song went, or 90s song, I forget who sang that. Anyway, with all of that being said, I do like that, Amy. Yes, at the end of the day, recruiting is recruiting is recruiting. We're going to be some recruiters. LinkedIn was going to be the death of recruiting, and so was the job boards. And
so was Monster. Remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, I always remember that. And I do remember that at the end of the day, we're still gonna be needed. Amy's still gonna be looking for rocket surgeons. Business is still out there.
Exactly that.
Well, that said, let me ask Amy. Of course, Neil and I are going to have our plugs, but Amy, I like you to have an opportunity to give your plugs if you want to. You got your YouTube channel, you got your blog.
Got my T-shirt line. Get your shirt. All proceeds go to the local animal shelter, in case you were wondering. I make no money off of this. I donate it to our animal shelter. So.
Sweet.
Oh, recruitinginyogapants.com. You can find everything about me there. Recruitinginyogapants.com. Recruiting by the way, yoga pants.
Like it. And you're wearing yoga pants right now. Show everyone your pants.
I'm wearing yoga pants right now. Sparkly ones.
Show it.
You want to see the sparkly?
Yeah, of course you do.
I don't think you can really see. It's like a gold thread.
Pants. There you go. Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
By the way, Neil's favorite pickup line at the bar is, "Does your butt clap back?" I'm just saying. Oh, man, we're gonna get canceled.
I like
Neil,
if I could rewrite the alphabet, Amy. I'd put you and I between us. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, anywho, I have no plugs. I have none whatsoever. Other than love everyone out there. I enjoyed the show. Amy, stay on for our post show afterwards when we say goodbye, and we'll see everyone next week. Is my plug.
All right. Well, for me, my website is finally being launched. Maybe tonight, probably tomorrow. It is going to be the bomb. So we've got all of our assets being out there. Our training, the new Lighthouse method is coming like probably in about a month. But the website's up. I'm going to have a new training on it. We're now taking calls, doing accelerator, tactical, and for those of you who don't know, Tactical Link, which is our LinkedIn automation tool, is the only tool that actually does hyper-personalized gifts within the LinkedIn inbox that also integrates with email simultaneously. And so if you are interested in any of that, hit me up. And with that being said, folks, thank you very much for joining the Headhunters and Boxers Talking Smack. I love you all. I even love Neil a little bit. I definitely love Amy. Great
I like
guest.
Some
one
of
our
you.
Best. One of our best. Which one? All right. Thank you, everybody, and peace out.
I'm reading the signals.
Thanks for having me.
Peace out.